Meanwhile, President Donald Trump appears to be the key cog to help end the war in Ukraine, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Chatter about a peace deal with Russia has been a priority for all countries, but Zelenskyy is demanding security guarantees if there is an agreement with Russia. Zelenskyy made his remarks during a highly anticipated meeting with U.S. Vice President Jd Vance at the Munich Security Conference today. Jason Gaidola joins us live with more details tonight. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening, Manisa. Vice President Vance told other leaders that the U.S. wants to see lasting peace between the two countries, which is drawing confusion after Trump previously suggested that Ukraine may be Russian someday.
Russia's taken over a pretty big chunk of territory, and they also have said from day one, long before President Putin, they've said they cannot have Ukraine be in NATO. They said that very strongly. I actually think that that was the thing that caused the start of the war. And
when pressed about what concessions Russia would have to make to broker a peace deal with Ukraine, U.S. President Donald Trump alluded to Russia's statement about NATO influence as the cause of the war and says it's too early to see it come to an end.
Maybe Russia will give up a lot, maybe they won't, and it's all dependent on what is going to happen. The negotiation really hasn't started, but I will say, as far as NATO is concerned, from many years before President Putin, I will tell you that I've heard that Russia would never accept that.
Trump says he's had talks with both Zelenskyy and Russian leader Vladimir Putin this week. Today in Germany, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy sat down with U.S. Vice President Jd Vance at the Munich Security Conference.
We want peace very much, but we need real security guarantees, and we will continue our meetings and our work.
The American VP is calling for a truce of lasting peace, while Zelenskyy says agreements must not be made without Ukraine.
See that the United States has a ready-made plan. I think this is very important. I told President Trump, I'm ready at any time. I don't need anything for this. No numbers, nothing. I know everything. We are ready to talk at any time.
Shortly before sitting down with Vance, Zelenskyy says he will only agree to a sit-down with Putin once a framework is negotiated with President Trump. Also today, the Russian president is turning his attention to his naval operations during a meeting with Crimea's governor. Meanwhile, Ukraine says a drone armed with a warhead hit the Chernobyl nuclear plant today, piercing a hole in a structure and briefly started a fire. The UN's energy watchdog says radiation isn't a concern, but fears continue to mount around a potential nuclear catastrophe at the site of the world's worst nuclear accident in 1986.
We had been able to rotate 26 teams from the IAEA, and the other day we had to withdraw them because there was a lot of military activity. So the first thing we have to try to get is to the end of at least this phase of the conflict without a nuclear accident there.
The latest reported attack on the same day of the security conference in Munich appears to underscore the crisis and the need for peace. At the same time, U.S. Vice President Vance shifted the focus on the rest of Europe following a car-ramming attack in Munich yesterday. The incident injured at least 36 people, and authorities believe it to be religiously motivated.
Our thoughts and prayers are with them and will remain with them. But why did this happen in the first place? It's a terrible story, but it's one we've heard way too many times in Europe and unfortunately too many times in the United States as well.
Vance also blasted European leaders today over immigration policies and freedom of speech. He met with all four of Germany's major political parties, including the co-leader of the populist Alternative for Germany party. Germany's election is in 9 days.